So with the new Diablo 4 expansion and the introduction of warplanes, there's now a ton of new methods to farm just a ridiculous amount of loot. And in this video, I want to go over what is seeming to be one of the best targeted methods of farming loot. So you can specifically target the items you're actually looking for. And this can also extend up into mythic items where you could potentially be getting a handful of mythic items in one of these runs if you have the prerequisites to do that. Now, the main thing you're going to need for this farm to work is 3 points in the Undercity skill tree, but 4 will also be better and allow you to juice your runs even a bit more. And you're going to be going down the left side of the Undercity tree, so you're just going to be getting all of the green nodes, one of them being incredibly important and is significantly stronger than the node lets on. So the first node is Endless Swarm. Invasion portals now appear in the Undercity. The enemies that emerge grant attunement when slain. So as you're going through the Undercity, there will just be these random portals that show up. They spew out a bunch of enemies, kill them as you're going by. That's pretty much all you have to focus on them, and you'll just get faster attunement to complete the runs more quickly. That's pretty much all that's going to be doing. The second node is Unfortunate Souls. So invasion portals can now summon wisps that attach to you and vanish if you die. Each wisp you save will reward you with Forgotten Souls and other crafting materials at the end of the run. And I'm pretty sure you just have to walk near these wisps when the portals spawn. And if you need crafting materials specifically, you can go and grab these wisps. If you already have a lot of crafting materials or you're not really looking for that right now, you could kind of just ignore the portal still and kill things as you run by. You will usually still end up picking up a few wisps just by running by. But if you need more materials, you could focus on that and try to pick up all of the wisps. And if you don't die in the run, any of them that you pick up will give you those materials at the end. So it's pretty easy to not lose them. Now, the most important node, being the third one, is called Gutter Filth. When you activate any beacon within the Undercity, there's a chance to summon a portal prankster. And invasion portals will now also summon rats of varying amounts, which are essentially just more enemies to get more attunement for the run to complete quicker. But the portal prankster portion is the important part. Now, beacons are all the things you have to click on to activate in the Undercity. So you go click on those little beacons, it'll spawn some enemies that are attached to it. When you defeat those enemies, that beacon is completed. It gives you a bunch of attunement, and it usually gives you a buff that massively reduces all of your cooldowns and makes you run faster. All of those beacons throughout the Undercity can now spawn a portal prankster right when you click on it, and it will spawn the goblin, which is a portal prankster, right at the start. So if you're already completed with your attunement, you don't necessarily have to go complete all of the other beacons. You just have to click on them and see if it spawns the goblin. Also, the one big beacon on level 2 of the Undercity that's always there right before the portal, that also counts as well. So make sure to go through and hit every single one of the beacons, because all of them can spawn in this goblin prankster that will give you a ridiculous amount of additional loot in that run. You can also just normally find goblin pranksters within these runs, but they're pretty rare to normally find. And while this thing says there is a small chance, this is pretty much a lie. It's much more rare to do a run and not get one of these portal pranksters than it is to get one. A lot of the runs we were doing, we were getting multiple. In fact, we had, I think, 3 or 4 runs back to back to back where we got 3 of these portal pranksters spawning in that run. And when we go over the loot, you'll see why this is so incredibly strong. That's the main thing you really need from this. So if you only have 3 points in your Undercity tree, you're good to go. You could start farming. But the fourth node of this section is also pretty good. It's called Trials and Tributes. For each portal prankster you slay in the Undercity, a tribute chest appears after killing the boss at the end. And tribute chests are unlocked by offering a tribute. So essentially what this is doing is anytime you kill a goblin, on top of the goblin giving their own chest, which we'll go over, there will also be an additional chest for every defeated portal prankster that requires another tribute to open to give you the loot that that tribute would normally give. Now, when opening those chests, because they cost another tribute, I would recommend only using the tribute to really honestly don't care that much about, because it'll just randomize what tribute it takes, but could be a more rare tribute that's one you want to hold on to, because as we go over loot, you'll see that you can multiply the amount of loot you're getting from your tribute that you use when you start the run. So pretty much only use the lesser tributes for these chests at the back. When you scroll over them, it will tell you what tribute it requires, and I would generally recommend not to use any of the tributes of the Haradrim or the armament tributes. Those are going to be the main ones you don't want to be using on that. Now, as mentioned, the most important part of this video is the portal pranksters, because anytime you kill a portal prankster in an Undercity, whether it's just their spawning or whether it's from the beacons, which you'll get a lot of, they will essentially duplicate the loot you get at the end of the run. They will give you another chest at the end of the run that will essentially copy the loot you're getting from your normal chest. So let's say you start an Undercity run with a tribute that gives you runes, and you go and normally do that run, you don't get any portal pranksters, the chest you open there will drop a bunch of runes. Now, let's say you go do that same run and you kill a portal prankster. Well, now you will have that same normal chest that you always get, but then you will also have another chest that usually mimics the loot you get from the main chest. Now, I have seen that sometimes they can give like random loot, but they're generally supposed to mimic the loot you get from your main chest. So whatever the loot you're supposed to be getting from the tribute that you put in to start the Undercity run is what the chest from these portal pranksters should also be giving you. So you're essentially multiplying the loot you're getting from this run, and you can kill multiple portal pranksters per run and it will just give you more chests. Like I mentioned, we did a bunch of runs back to back to back where we got 3 portal pranksters. That means you have 3 additional loot chests that are mimicking the loot you got from that one main loot chest. Now, no matter what tribute you're using in the Undercity, just multiplying the loot is obviously very good, but some specific tributes make this significantly stronger. First off, we have the new tribute of the Haradrim this season, which just gives you talisman items. So that's incredibly good if you're looking for your set charms, if you're trying to get a better rolled seal, if you're in higher torment and you're trying to get more unique charms. So running with one of those new tributes of the Haradrim is very good for that. But then you also have the tribute of armaments. Now, like all of the tributes with the expansion, there are now multiple rarities of them. So you can get a tribute of armaments that's the lowest rarity or blue. You can get the yellow one, but you can also get a mythic tribute of armament. Now, this is just replacing the old ascended tribute, which used to be a unique rarity. Now it's turned into a mythic rarity, and it still basically does the same thing. The main loot you're getting from using one of these is a bunch of uniques and a much higher chance at mythic uniques. In fact, you have quite a good chance to get a mythic unique out of running one of these tributes in the Undercity. Now, where this gets absolutely crazy is running one of these mythic tributes using the build we just went over and getting a handful of goblin kills, and now you essentially just double the loot from this tribute that gives you a bunch of additional chances at more mythics. The first mythic run I took part in this season, and this was before we even knew about this side path, we just found a goblin randomly in that run, and both of us doing this run ended up getting 2 mythics because the goblin chest gave us a mythic and the main chest also gave us a mythic. Now, these mythic tributes of armaments are quite rare. You should be able to upgrade to them if you can get the lower rarity armaments. Once you have one of these, make sure to go down that left path, and if you say do a run and get say 3 portal pranksters, you could potentially be getting 4 mythics that run, or technically even more, because these chests can at a much rarer chance drop multiple mythics. I have run the ascended tribute from previous seasons, which is just what the mythic is now, and I have gotten multiple mythics from the one chest. So you can get multiple mythics from the same chest. Just getting multiple of these goblin kills in one of these runs just multiplies your chance of getting mythics, and this is easily one of the best farms to get mythic items just because it's such a high chance from this tribute, and you can just multiply the loot using these specific nodes. The loot in here is absolutely ridiculous using these nodes, but that's all I want to go over, so thanks for watching.